two, one.
Hi, everyone. This is Craig Proctor, and welcome to the Craig Proctor Real Estate Show. Today are my Florida superstars from Tampa. We've got Ernie Van Glahn and Debi. How are you guys doing today?
Doing great.
Doing great.
Well, the market, we're talking before we got started here about the changing market in Tampa. What's going on right now? Things have changed quite a bit.
Yeah, things have changed pretty dramatically over the last couple of weeks, where the market is now showing a lot of reductions in price by listing agents, far less buyers out there, although we do have a listing that's really blowing it up. But other than that, other listings are getting a few showings here and there. Our lender called us the other day and said he lost about 50% of his buyers because either A, they don't want to spend, do the 6%, or B, they are no longer qualified to buy a house in the area. So things have changed quite a bit in the last few weeks.
Longer days on market. Things are not blown off the market in 24 hours with multiple offers. And like I already said, over the last couple of weeks, I'd say last 30 to 45 days, we've really started seeing shifting back to more of a normal market, Craig, is what I feel.
Well, that's good. We're shifting back to a normal market because now the buyers and sellers really are going to be a lot more selective on who they choose as a real estate agent. Right now, it really matters who your agent is. And yeah, we were talking before we got started that 1 in 5 realtors got their license during the pandemic. So the only market they know is up, up, up and away. So yeah, we're kind of jumping from a pandemic into a recession, and things are going to change a lot. We're going to talk about how you've made these shifts, okay? What realtors need to do to be successful. Every time a door closes, another door opens, and we want to make sure that we understand what the opportunities are. The market shifting is actually a good thing for top agents. Top agents always increase market share because they know what they do. And like I mentioned a minute ago, the buyers and sellers are going to care a whole lot more about who they're going to work with, who they're going to choose as a realtor, versus over the last couple of years, we can argue it really didn't matter because the home sold instantly. And even realtors with poor service, that wasn't really exposed. If the house sells in 48 hours, everybody, it looked like everybody had great service. Debi, you were mentioning, it was funny, you were mentioning that you've got sellers that if their house isn't sold in a week, they think there's something wrong with the house, which, a couple of years ago, days of the market were 60 or 90 days. So the sellers are going to have to, get reprogrammed as to what realistic expectations are.
Yes, for sure.
Let's go back to how we first met. You guys were in real estate, obviously, before you met me. What were you doing back then? Okay, like what was your whole thinking process about real estate? Kind of what was the deal as Tampa realtors? And then how has that changed over the last years since we met?
Okay, so I was a New York City police captain, and I was a first responder to the World Trade Center. I retired in 2004. I got my license in 2013, took some time off from working after 20 years. And I did okay. As a new agent with a certain brokerage. Debi and I met at that brokerage. And as Debi likes to say, I dragged her to a Craig Proctor half-day event. And we were both sold. We couldn't sign up fast enough. And then we went to a full-day conference back in Fort Lauderdale. And that's how long it's been. And we signed up right away. Debi was actually up there before I was. And she's a high I personality and I'm a high D. And us high Ds tend to jump at everything. And that I was a little reserved, but Debi was all in. And that's how we met.
Yep. And me too. I'm from New York as well, but Ernie and I didn't know each other. Our paths did cross, but we never met up in New York. Had my real estate license up in New York, doing it part-time, as well as I was a paralegal. So I had the legal background. Always felt I wanted to get into real estate. I got into it in 2010. People told me I was crazy because that's kind of when the market got really bad. I was with a small brokerage up in New York, and I really learned a lot, but I really didn't learn well. Just learned, the normal way of doing things, or the way most realtors do everything, and kind of just muddled along. And
Right. And you're thinking this is just the nature of the business, right? Cold call, door knock, FISBOs, expired.
Houses. I got my other job. That's okay. I'm bringing money home. I'm okay like that.
Yep.
I came down to Florida in 2012 and tried to, what I say, get a quote real job, and wasn't able to make that happen. So I said, God's trying to tell you something, do what you love. So got my real estate license, muddled around with a big brokerage for a little while, didn't get any training at all, kind of figured things out myself. Then I went to another brokerage. They recruited me where I met Ernie, and we kind of sat side by side, and we had some commonalities being from the same place. And like he said, he dragged me to the half day event where I sat there, and I learned.
Thank goodness for Ernie.
I learned from James McDonald about direct response marketing, and which I had never ever heard of. And I was like, wow, this sounds really interesting. You mean I don't have to go cold calling and putting door hangers on doors and all that kind of stuff? So it piqued my interest enough to sign up for the 3-day event down in Fort Lauderdale, where I sat basically in the front row and have been sitting almost there ever since. And sat there and basically cried because I said, I can't afford to do this, but I can't afford not to do it. And, you guys work with me and found a way to do it. And Ernie and I kind of muddled along by ourselves, sitting side by side, until we finally one day said, why don't we just team up and be partners and do this together? It makes so much sense. So being in the Craig Proctor system, one of the things I love about this system is the way we keep up with the current market trends. We always know what's going to happen next before it happens. All right. There's so many times I've sat at a conference where Todd has said something, this is what's happening. And 2-3 months later, you're like, wow, he's right. It's so the training that we get is
Debbie, that's because we have a DeLorean here in the garage. We go into the future, we find out what's going on, and we go back in time and share it with you.
Bonnie McBride.
Well, look, what would you say to, so thousands of people are going to watch this interview. We are live right now on Facebook, on YouTube, on LinkedIn. This is, and for every realtor, video is king. You've got to start producing video that's super helpful to buyers and sellers. And then, of course, on Facebook, we're going to be pixeling anybody that watches, so you can push content out. Realtors need to understand that in the new world here, we don't necessarily need to meet with the buyer or seller to do the presentation. Like right now, the three of us are doing a presentation. Potentially thousands of realtors will watch this. So one of the things we're coaching our members up on is, hey, just start doing useful information videos and start pushing them out there for buyers and sellers. And then the prospects that watch that content will be pixeled. And then they're going to see our stuff over and over again, because it is getting way more difficult to get buyers and sellers to pick up the phone.
True.
That's what I was just going to say, Craig. Yeah, it is really getting hard for people to get people on the phone. So by providing that information through video, we're turning things around where people are reaching out to us.
It's nice. It's nice, isn't it? Hey, Debbie. Hey, Ernie. I see you guys all over the place. Can you come over and get me? Can you come over and list my house? It's for anyone watching this that's still worried about where their next transaction is going to come from, and you're doing all the traditional things. You want to get coached up on smart modern marketing, because not only has the market shifted, no question, I don't know whether we're going to go into a recession or what, or maybe we're already in one, but definitely we're going to have some economic challenges. Many realtors will be forced out of the business because they just don't understand how to operate and how to offer buyers and sellers what it is that they really want. I've been doing this now for 30 years, and every time I've been through a recession, I did better. Okay, I increased market share. In fact, the first recession that I experienced was in 1991. I had my real estate license only for a couple of years, That year, I sold hundreds of houses and was named the top Remax agent in the world within a few years of having my license. In the middle of the 1991 recession in my marketplace, house prices dropped by about 30% in 6 months. So, if you're in real estate for long enough, you're going to have these up markets and down markets, and you want to make sure that your business really is insulated from what the market's doing. So our offers, the strategies we use, are going to continue to change as the market evolves based on what issues buyers and sellers are having and how we communicate that message. Back in the day, when I started, it was about newspaper and magazines, and today it's about video, it's about social media, but we're still using direct mail and what some would consider old school. But what makes the direct mail work are the offers that we make. So if you're watching this right now and you're like, I don't know about marketing, I never really get a great return, maybe Facebook isn't working and Google's not working and direct mail is not working. I would say this: it's not the media, so to speak, that's the problem. It's the offer that you're making. And so that's what we coach you up on is, what is it that buyers and sellers really want? What offer, what message should we be making on our media to get people to contact us? It's all about, first of all, getting them to know who we are, getting prospects to understand what makes us different and better than the other realtors, and having a marketing approach that really creates this omnipresence. So if you're in Tampa, Florida, you know who Ernie and Debi are, and eventually they're providing you great information. There's a pretty good chance you're at least going to include them as one of the realtors you're going to speak to. Tell us, the other thing I wanted to say as well before I forget is, not only has the economy shifted, but the behavior of the buyers and sellers have shifted, right? You guys probably remember when we were kids, if the phone rang at home, our parents would push us out of the way to answer the phone, right? Today, people don't answer the phone. That's why we have voicemail. And so, it's extremely difficult to get people to answer the phone. It's funny because when I'm speaking to realtors, I'll even say to realtors, you guys are real estate agents and you don't even want to answer the phone, and you should be answering the phone, right? And they kind of laugh. But today, millennials, who make up about 50% of our buyers and sellers today, want to get as much information as they can online before they commit to meeting with a real estate agent. So that's going to be our strategy going forward, is getting as much information out there so they're going to see basically who you are, what you do, what makes you different and better, what your services are all about. They can find that out without even having to meet with you. And that'll cause them to want to call you and then have that meeting. So the way the buyers and sellers are getting information, how they're making the decisions is quite different today. We've got a conference coming up in Orlando, Florida at the end of July. It's July 28th, 29th, and 30th. Ernie and Debi will be there, but so will 1,000 Craig Proctor members. The conference that I'm doing in Orlando, Florida, is all about the 3 shifts that are happening right now. Okay. One is the economy that's shifting. Right. The second, as I mentioned, is the behavior of the buyers and sellers has changed. Okay. The third is we have changes to the industry that are being pushed on us. One of the changes are the iBuyer companies. And how much of a force have they been in Florida? I know I was talking to one of our members in Phoenix. There's something crazy, like 36% of the homes that sold in the last 12 months sold to an iBuyer company. Are you finding that a big factor in your market right now?
We've seen a lot of it. However, I'm seeing less of it now.
For sure.
We're seeing less of the Zillow homes, the Redfins, OfferPad. So we're seeing a lot less of it. I know with the market going crazy, we weren't seeing as much of it because the offers that they would, people knew that they could sell their homes quicker and, get more money for it, and get the home sold quick. But we're starting to see them actually disappear a little bit.
The other issue too is some of the changes that may be forced on us in regards to buyer agency. You both know about the beef that the Department of Justice has with the National Association of Realtors. And, for those of you that I'm sure you've all heard about it, but the Department of Justice does not think that the National Association of Realtors should be mandating that when someone submits a realtor submits a listing, that there should be compensation to the buyer brokerage. They're saying that's a violation of an antitrust law. And why would the seller be forced to pay opposing counsel? And I don't think anyone can argue with, it doesn't seem right. If you went to court, you wouldn't be expecting to pay the other lawyer. And we have, we've noticed the commission going to the buyer agent going down and down and down. And Debi, you talked about how, we take the DeLorean into the future and we bring back what's going to happen. How many years have we been talking about the demise of the buyer broker commission?
Years ago, Todd kept saying it. And you know what? I was a skeptic in the beginning, but very soon after he started saying it, I started seeing it go from 3 to 2. It went gradually down 2.5%. Now we're seeing lower. We're seeing lower, 1%, 1.75%. That's just the wave of the future. And if people don't know how to negotiate the commission, then they're going to really be out of business. That's right.
Right. Well, and part of negotiating your fee is actually having something extraordinary to offer buyers and sellers. So, we're not saying, hey, you should pay us more money because we want more money. We're making very good points to buyers and sellers as to why we're different, why we're better, why they're actually going to net more money using our services. And that's how we're able to command a higher fee. So what you offer, like the words that come out of your mouth, your marketing, they have to be so good that 2 things happen. Number one, in your marketplace, everyone clearly needs to understand who you are, what makes you different, what makes you better. So they want to choose you, but they're also willing to pay you a premium, which, if you were the best surgeon in town in Tampa, you're going to command a higher fee. If you're the best architect in Tampa, you're going to command a higher fee. So this is called like normal, but a lot of realtors don't think that. They're like, well, you know what? I got to match the other agent. And it's sort of a commodity mentality. So think of all the stuff, the chaos right now that we're dealing with. We just come through a pandemic. Okay. Now we're heading into a recession. So we've got record high inflation, it's like at a 40-year high. That house I have down in Sarasota, I just got an email from the landscapers. It's like, oh yeah, we've got all these additional fees. We got to come out and see you. We have a gas fee. It's like everybody's, this inflation thing. Everybody's charging more. I have a friend of mine that owns a landscaping company. Goes, oh yeah, our materials, everything we've got to. Everyone's raising the price. So we've got all these inflationary pressures. So now the Federal Reserve's like, well, this has got out of control. We probably should have raised interest rates sooner, but we didn't. And now they're trying to play catch up. So we got, 3/4 point increases. I don't know what's going to happen here, but if you're a first-time buyer, it's a double whammy, right? How much for a first-time buyer, approximately how much is a price increase for a first-time buyer home in Tampa since the pandemic?
So good.
So before the pandemic, a first-time buyer could find a home for $250. A nice, decent home for $250 in a decent area with good schools. Now, you're looking at about 400.
Now think about that.
It's about, it's at least a 60%, 60. Yeah, it's gone up. It's gone up crazy.
Okay. So the couple that could afford a $250,000 house, that house is now $400,000. Their wages haven't doubled in the last couple of years. Now to finance that house it's a double whammy. So here's what kills the whole real estate deal. Okay. What kills it is unaffordability for the first-time buyer, because real estate is a chain, right? Real estate is a chain. And when the first-time buyer can't afford to buy, then the guy that owns the first-time home, he can't move up to the next home and so on and so on. So what we're really wanting to focus on right now are people that absolutely have to buy and sell.
Right.
Okay. That's who we got to be focusing on. We can't be focusing on the seller that says, well, gee, Ernie, if if you can get me $100,000 more, like my neighbor, we got to focus on the person that's been transferred, the couple that's going through a divorce. How about this? There's a lot of this going on in Toronto right now where people have bought another house and their house isn't going to close. So they can't close their new house because the buyer on their home cannot get the financing. Literally here in Toronto, I would say the peak in Toronto was about January or February. There are homes here that are down a couple $100,000 in a few months, right? So they thought they're going to have their financing, but by the time the bank got out there and did the appraisal and everything, the house dropped so much, they're not getting their financing. So there's going to be people that are going to be in a jam that need to sell their home. The builders are going to need us now again,
I was
right?
just going to say that the new construction, the prices are going to start going down. All right. People who were in contract last year that went into contract last year, now maybe not able to afford that house. So now they won't be able to, make financing so that the house goes back on the market, and they're going to have to drop the price on those houses. Yep. That's what we're seeing. I even spoke with the builder in my neighborhood because we just bought new construction, and I asked him last week what he's seeing. And that's exactly what he said he's seeing. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of these builders didn't think they needed realtors over the last couple of years. Now I notice they're, now they're offering commission bonuses, and they're, they're
coming
back. They're back needing the realtors again. Now, Debi, one of your niches that you're really good at are expired listings. And so, of course, expireds weren't really a thing over the last couple of years. Now you see that as an opportunity. And also the FSBOs were pretty successful doing it on their own. They need us as well. So what are you doing? What are you doing to take those opportunities?
So we focus, expireds did disappear a lot over the last couple of years. Nothing was expiring. Things were just selling so fast. However, there were always canceled listings. So we've gone off after the canceled listings. When I first started the program, it was probably pretty soon after we got into Craig Proctor, I started using the system. And in the beginning, it wasn't successful. It took a little while for it to kick in. But once it kicked in, it kicked in.
Big time.
It kicked in big time. A lot of them, some of them are come list me's. Once they see your material, you're walking into the home. We have the pre-selling package that we deliver prior to the appointment, and you walk into the home, and that pre-selling package is sitting right on the kitchen table or open with stuff spread out. So that they've looked through that. So that the opportunity, and they've pretty much made their mind up at that point. We've done really, really well with the system over the last, 5-6 years that we've been doing it. It's just one of our, main pillars that we use, and I'll never give it up. But cancels have been a big part of us the last 2 years, because there's got to be a reason why they canceled. Most of the time is they're not happy with their realtor. And if you can't, the last 2 years, if you couldn't get a house sold in the last 2 years, then you're really not going to get a house sold with the market changing. So, we've had much success on selling many homes that were listed with another agent and didn't sell after 36.
And those are always great testimonials to have, right? I was listed with another realtor for 3 months, or two different realtors over the last 6 months, and I listed with Ernie and Debi, and they sold my home in 4 days for 100% of the asking price.
And a lot of them, and some of these people have actually more than one house. I'm working with a client right now that has 3 homes I have listed for him off of an expired. So so it's been a pretty good gig.
Well, and so we've got a lot of opportunities that we're sort of abandoned over the pandemic, that we can seize these opportunities. This is sort of what I'm going to roll out at the conference in Orlando. Is I'm going to say, look, these are the biggest opportunities right now in real estate. We're going to list them all out, and I'm going to explain why I believe these are the biggest opportunities. And it's amazing how other realtors do not see what's coming and the opportunities that we see. And if they do, they really don't know quite what to do about it, right? So we're going to get into detail as to exactly what you should be doing if you want to dramatically increase your market share. Because one of the things you've noticed hanging around with Craig Proctor members, we're never satisfied with the status quo. Most of our success is pushing against industry norms. So when everyone else is going right, we're making a left-hand turn. Let's now talk about your business and scaling it up. You have a team. Your business will continue to grow because you are dedicated to this system. You continually perfect the marketing. You've got more business coming in than you could possibly handle. And your vision for your business is that it is an actual business that at some point you will not be part of. You'll be running it, but you will not be working with the buyers and the sellers. To continue to scale this up, you're going to need really good people. And I want to explain to everyone watching this, if you're in Tampa, Florida, you're a realtor in Tampa, Florida, check out how this would work for you. Okay. If you were to work with Ernie and Debi, they pay for everything. They pay for all the marketing. The leads come into inside sales agents. They qualify the leads for you and they give you appointments. So that's right. If you were to work on their team, you would get listing appointments and buyer appointments. But it gets better than that because they coach you up on the buyer presentation and listing presentation. So I coach up Ernie and Debi, and then they coach up you. Okay. So they're superstars. They show you how to be really great because the more money you make, the more money they make. You would be set up every day with appointments. Now, you would be able to schedule your time off. So let's say that you had to do something on a Friday afternoon, you schedule that out. But if your schedule is open, they're going to start booking you appointments. It's that simple. Now, not only are they're not giving you leads, understand they're giving you actual buyer appointments and listing appointments. That's something realtors sometimes have a hard time getting their head around because they're used to, you got any leads or buying leads or whatever. Debi and Ernie are experts at marketing, okay, at bringing in really good leads. Then they qualify the leads. They actually call the prospect, go through a sifting and sorting process. Only appointments that are real appointments with motivated buyers and sellers are booked for their team. They spend an enormous amount of time coaching and training you, coaching you up on how to be a superstar when you meet with buyers and sellers. And that's how this business rolls. So they're looking for really great agents. Now, again, if you're in Tampa, Florida, if you can set your ego aside just for a minute and remind yourself why the hell you got into real estate. You got into real estate because you want to make more money and you want to have more time. Okay, that's called freedom. When you have the money and you have the time, that's called freedom. This is the best opportunity for you in Tampa real estate. You want to pick up the phone and have a conversation with these guys and talk about that opportunity. First of all, there's no downside here. It's a conversation, right? That's how, look at how Debi and Ernie met me. Okay. Ernie somehow heard about me, twisted Debi's arm. They came to a conference. How many years ago was that, guys?
We 2014, we went to the half-day event and we
It's 8
went
years already.
8 years ago.
Wow.
Think about that. We had a conversation 8 years ago. You're still here today.
Mhm.
Okay. And our top members are Craig Proctor lifers. As long as I keep adding value to my members, they want to stay. It's the same thing for all of you. If we add value to this and you can make more money and have a better life in real estate, I was talking to a guy I was trying to recruit here in Toronto. This guy worked for Remax. He was making like $100,000 a year. And I knew him because I had sold his house before he got into real estate. So I knew who the guy was. So I noticed he got into real estate. He was working just outside of Toronto. So this is when I'm really growing my team out. All the guys on my team were making a couple $100,000 net in their pocket. So I called this guy and I said, hey, if you remember me, I sold your house a few years ago. I saw you got into real estate. So he goes, yeah, I'm doing pretty good. I'm making like $100,000 a year. But I found out he'd recently got a divorce. You know, his life was in upheaval because doing real estate the normal way, he was working all the time to make 100,000. And then, so I set up this meeting with him, and he opens up during the meeting. He says, well, honestly, I don't really make 100,000 a year because I spend 40 doing it. What I pay Remax, and I'm doing all this marketing and stuff that's not really working. So this guy, he gave up his whole life, right? When I met him, he was happily married, 2 kids, the whole thing. Now, a few years later, the guy thinks he's making 100 grand. He only makes 60,000 because he spends 40,000 to make the 100, and he's not happy. So I said to him, look, if you come and you work on my team, okay, you will make 4 times the 60,000. You'll make $250,000 here. I'll pay for all the marketing and advertising. You will not work as many hours as you're working, because he had his kids every other weekend. I said, just book yourself out every other weekend. You'll have that freedom here on the Craig Proctor team. He was skeptical. But within a year, the guy was making $250,000 a year net in his pocket. So that's what's possible with joining the right team and having the right opportunity. So if you are in Tampa, I encourage you to reach out to Debbie and Ernie. What would be the best way for realtors to just reach out to you and have a conversation?
They can give us a call at 813-359-0880. Or you can email us at Ernie@Primetime Home Team, or Debi, DEBI, at primetimehometeam.com.
Yeah, the Primetime Home Team in Tampa, Florida. Now, if you're watching this and you're not in Tampa, Florida, and you want to know more about Craig Proctor, you can actually book a call with me. Okay, if you're in Tampa, everything you want to do in real estate is already being done by Ernie and Debbie. It's that simple. Have a conversation. What's the worst thing that can happen? You don't like it, whatever, you just keep doing what you're doing. But what if this is real? Okay, what if you can net more money and work less, have a better experience in real estate by just being part of something that's really big? If you're not in Tampa, Florida, set up a conversation with me. Okay, I'll ask you a few questions about your business, where you want to go. I'll ask you what you're doing right now, and I'll give you some suggestions on what I would do if I was you. And if you like my advice, if you're like, well, you know what? These are some pretty good ideas. I like what Craig said. I like this approach. Then I'd love to work with you, right? That's what I'd like. Now you go to proctorcall.com. If you go to proctorcall.com, you'll go to my Acuity Day Timer. You book a day and a time that works for you. We'll take an hour. We'll have a conversation, ask you a bunch of questions, find out what you really want, and I will give you all I've got during that hour, and you can decide whether Craig Proctor is a good fit with you, or you can eliminate me and find somebody else or continue doing whatever you're doing. Any final thoughts here, Debbie and Ernie, before we wrap up our interview?
Just want to kind of throw a plug in for our worthy cause. We do give a portion of our commission on every sale back to a worthy cause, which is the Stephen Silla Tunnel to Towers Foundation. That was born out of 9/11. As Ernie had mentioned earlier, he was a 9/11 responder, and both of us are from New York, so it's something very dear to our heart. So one of the things that we are committed to within our team is making a difference in our community. So the Tunnel to Towers Foundation, it builds smart homes for wounded military vets, also pays off the mortgages of firefighters, police officers killed in the line of duty. They're actually building a village right near our office in Land O'Lakes that was on land that was donated to them for families who have lost their spouses, in the line of duty. So it's just something very dear to us. I wanted to kind of give a plug for that. But that's something that if you do join our team, that's something that you will definitely be a part of. And it's something very, very close to our hearts. So
I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because I do want to extend this interview through a few more minutes. Ernie, you were there on 9/11.
Yes.
How did that change your life?
Dramatically. I mean, you live with the event every single day. As they say, you can't unsee things. And every single one of us, whether you're a police officer, firefighter, construction workers later on when they started clearing out the site. All of us have PSTD. It's just a matter of how bad. And also, we've lost probably 3,000 police officers, firefighters, and construction workers to 9/11 cancers and other related illnesses. So I'm actually getting chills just thinking about it. It was a horrific event, and hopefully this world will never see anything like it again.
So there you have it, folks. 9/11 survivor, Ernie Van Glahn, New York Police Department. And this worthy cause is something all of you should consider about. You know, it's one of the things that we teach realtors. You know, we all want referrals, and, you know, mostly our referral offer for the average realtor is kind of a weak or self-serving offer, right? That's why a lot of realtors kind of feel embarrassed or whatever to ask for referrals, because, you know, it is self-serving. Hey, Debbie, do you know anybody? Ernie, do you know anybody? Or some of these trainers, you know, they'll teach, well, you know, the biggest compliment you could give me, Ernie, is send me a referral.
I had that on my card at one time.
Yeah. As if buyers and sellers are like, hi, I'm just going to think all day long about how I can give you a compliment. And here's what I like about having a worthy cause. Obviously, you can see Ernie and Debbie are very passionate about their worthy cause. It's something that means something a lot to them. And they know that it's a win-win-win, right? Because their worthy cause is going to win every time they get a referral. Obviously, Ernie and Debbie are going to win. They're going to get a new client. But the client's going to win because every time they do business with Ernie and Debbie, we're saving them from having an average or below average experience with an average realtor. So I'm going to ask everybody, what is your worthy cause? You know, what has touched your life? Like 9/11 has touched theirs. And, you know, we've all been touched by something. It might be cancer. It might be, you know, maybe yours will be the Heart and Stroke Foundation or homeless people. As you know, we got a lot of military people in our program, and Wounded Warriors is theirs. So this is part of what we teach in the Craig Proctor program. We teach you how to connect yourself with a worthy cause, something that's really super meaningful for you, something you can get behind. And every time you meet with a buyer or seller, you're going to have no problem talking about something that you believe in. It doesn't seem self-serving. It's something that you're passionate about, and you'll be a lot more comfortable and a lot more effective when it comes to getting referrals from clients and past clients and just like everybody in your community. Guys, I want to thank you so much for doing this. I'm really looking forward to seeing you in Orlando, Florida,
For sure.
July 28th to the 30th. I'll have a link for that as well. Just in case some of you watching this are not already registered to come to Orlando, Florida for the 3-day Craig Proctor Market Shift Conference. We have still some discounted room rates, but our room block is filling up quickly. The entire room, hotel rather, will be absolutely jammed full of Craig Proctor members. We will have over 1,000 in attendance. All you have to do actually is just go to craigproctorseminar.com, craigproctorseminar.com, get all the information. You can hear about everything we're going to be talking about, see the agenda. It's a great website, craigproctorseminar.com, give you complete information. If you have any questions for me, again, we'll have my contact information below. We can go to proctorcall.com. We'll have Ernie and Debbie's information. I want to thank you guys again so much for doing this. We'll look forward to seeing you in Orlando, Florida. And thank you for being Craig Proctor members for the last 8 years. It means a lot to me.
Members who aren't signed up for Orlando, sign up now. You don't want to miss this one. I mean, you don't want to miss any of them, but this is going to help you move forward through this crazy times that we're going through.
Yeah, literally, this will be the biggest conference we've done since the pandemic started. We're getting everybody back here, and you know, this is where if you want to know what's going down here, what's going to be happening over the next 6 months or year or two, like Debbie said, you know, it's like seeing a crystal ball into like what's going to happen and what you should be doing about it. So we're going to wrap this up. Thanks again, everyone, for watching the Craig Proctor Real Estate Show. Thank you.
Bye, Craig. Thanks.